Hello, this is Idodmg and welcome back to the channel. In this Torchlight 3 video, I want to do a really quick overview of what the endgame Fazeer's dungeon looks like, what it is, and just kind of give a little showcase of what it all entails. So, in order to unlock the Fazeer's dungeon challenge, first you have to complete the story, you have to complete all 3 acts, and once you've done that, you then get a quest to place a prop in your fort for the Fazeer dungeon. This is what it looks like, and when you click on it, this is the UI that you'll pop up for the dungeon challenges. When you very first start, you'll only have access to the first challenge, challenge 1. These other 2 will be locked. The way that it works is one of these cards is one map. It's one dungeon, it's one challenge. And then you have to beat it without dying to move on to the next. If I were to beat level 1 and go on to level 2, if I died on level 2, I would then have to go back to 1. But there's different challenge set rules. So once you've completed the first 3, you can then move on to the next bracket, which would be challenge 4 through 7. So just to explain it really briefly to you is, let's say you're working on these. Let's say you're working on level 6. If you die on level 6, you don't go all the way back to 1. You would just go back to 4. So once you've completed one of these boss cards without dying, you've then unlocked a checkpoint to start on the next level bracket. So it is a little bit roguelike in that sense. Another interesting thing that this game mode brings is it has challenge rules. So each challenge set, you'll notice, has different rule sets over here. I've only ever seen one rule being applied. I think these are predetermined, and I don't think that they are random at all. But basically what they are they're random things that are going to hinder your time throughout that bracket. So before we get too far ahead, let's take one step back and talk about these cards. And what it is when you click on, let's say I want to go ahead and start up this challenge, you're going to get 3 cards, flip them over, and you can pick 1. So you have a choice out of 3. You only have to pick 1 and complete that one without dying. So if you do die, you can come back in here and just try it again. Okay? Each card or challenge or map, whatever you want to call it, comes with a positive and a negative effect tied to it. Some give you more gold, relic cooldown. You can see it there indicated in the blue, and the red is the negative effects. There's quite a few interesting modifiers. I won't talk about all of them because I really don't want to spoil too much for you. I think there's quite a bit there to discover. After 30 hours, I have seen a lot of repeat modifiers, and I already know which ones I prefer over others. So that's something they probably knew would become a thing anyway, and kind of the strategy of getting through this endless dungeon mode. As far as I know, the mode is endless. I think Sean said on the Friday Funday stream, which I'm going to reference that a lot. Make sure you do check that out. It's every Friday, I think at 11 a.m. Pacific time on Play Torchlight at Twitch. They have the developers on there that talk a lot. And Sean, I think he said he made 250 levels so far. But I have a feeling that it's just going to be endless. Like if you ever get to the end, they're just going to come up with more. So I think that's pretty cool to really try to push your character and your build. After 30 hours of playing on Ridiculous, I did play all solo. I think I got up to level 71 was my highest. And you'll also notice that very first set only had 3 cards. So now we're on to 4. So there's 4 dungeons you have to beat without dying to progress to the next rule set. So once you beat 3, it's pretty much challenge 4 through then 63 is there. Each set will be 4 sets of cards. And then once you beat 63 and move on to 64, it turns into 5 cards. And I've heard that it goes up to at least 6. Hopefully it goes up to even more cards to really make that roguelike thing that much more punishing. I mean, could you imagine if there was 10 cards and you were like on the 9th card or something, and you had died and had to go back to that, and had to go back to the beginning of that set? That would be a little bit frustrating. But, you know, I've made it to 71 a few times, and I've died, disconnected. There's been some server issues that I have, you know, they'll be worked out. It's part of the public test server and private test server environments is getting those kinks sorted out. So that's basically the Fazeer's Dungeon Challenge. The only other thing to really note is the further you do go into the dungeon, you'll see it in my gameplay here in a second, but in the top right corner, underneath the minimap, it shows the monsters have more damage and health. This does increase as you go higher and higher in the dungeon. So if someone's streaming or you're watching someone play the game, you can kind of see how far they are based on that number. I do wish on the UI it would show what current floor you are working on, just so that people that are watching can kind of have a indication of how well you're doing, and also for yourself in case you forget, so you can just kind of have that reminder. Just a nice little quality of life there. Anyway, that's the Fazeer's Dungeon Challenge. I want to wrap it up, share some final thoughts, and the hot topic that I want to bring up is rewards. What is the point in this dungeon challenge? As it is right now in Torchlight 3, once you reach level 60, that's it. That's the best gear in the game you can find. There's no higher tier sets or anything like that. It's just farming for the best gear that's level 60. So I think that kind of limits how much power progression there really is in the game, which I guess is a good thing, but I find it to be more of a negative thing. I've heard both sides of the argument, and I'm curious to know what you think. Should they add stronger tiers? Like maybe after you clear 50 floors, you can find a stronger tier of item or something like that? Or just leave it as is and just level 60 is it, and grind for the best gear? I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. You can also use life binding scrolls to increase your gear's power by 20%. For me personally, I only do that if I have backup items. I guess the ultimate reward is being the true champion and pushing as high as you can go, but without a leaderboard, it's really hard to tell how you're doing against other people. You can obviously go to a city hub and see the challenge of how high other people have been on their player badge. But, you know, with it being in my fort, I'm not really going to go to town that often, probably only to buy potions and gamble. So I don't know. I think with a system like this, leaderboards would definitely be a nice thing. And maybe they could reset every so often. And, you know, we've already had conversations. I know that leaderboards are going to bring out a meta, but you know what? With a system like this where people are going to be trying to really push the limits, there's going to be just skills and classes that are just better at it than others. I think that's just the nature of an endless dungeon type of mode. Anyway, let me know down in the comments. What do you think? Do you think the rewards are fine? Do you think they should add more? Currently, all you can really get is fame for your contracts, which gives you fort props and some other nice little things, map works to grind gear, stuff like that. You can get loot, gold, materials, and that's pretty much it for rewards. Like I said, I'd like to see a little bit more, but let me know what you guys think. I can't thank you guys enough for your support and time in watching these videos. If you enjoy the videos and the content on the channel, don't forget to like, subscribe, tell your friends about the YouTube channel, Twitch stream, all that. You guys are awesome. And if anyone is wanting to jump in on some co-op and test this out on the PTR, feel free to hit me up. I think the Endgame update's going to be hitting the live servers on July 20th around their ballpark. And then 2 weeks after that, we'll get the Relic update on the live servers, which does come with a wipe. That is going to be it for me. I can't thank you enough. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.